Welcome to Deep Thought. A person's sexual nature affects other areas of life. I'm going to tell you what, when I say sexual nature, how someone expresses themselves sexually, everything, and not just in the bedroom, but overall. Because remember, if we're talking about sexual dynamics, it really is how men and women interact with each other. There's always a sexual dynamic, even if there's no intention of sex. Even if there's no intention. It's why, men might go, if they go on shopping or something, they'll get in the line of the sexier checkout clerk. Or women might attend a church or some spiritual temple or even follow a political candidate because they are sexually appealing. That's how deep it is. That's how deep it is. But even on a deeper level, it's about their energy. Their energy. See, on a deeper level, there are two general types of sexual expression. And I've talked about this before, subconscious sexual expressions, orientations, particularly on my men's channel. One, you have people who are more sexually repressed for numerous reasons. I mean, the underlying thing is a fear, but it could be a fear of sinning. It could be because of some type of sexual trauma. It could have been a strict upbringing. It could just be a lack of education on sex. But whatever the case, subconsciously, their sexual energy is more reserved. They not going to interact with people the same way. They're not going to come off as quote unquote sexy. So those are, as a mentor, Master Yao Yamache Morris, who talks about deeper aspects of sexual expression and everything, he would call them reverent intelligentians. They're more in their head. They're more in their head. Like a woman who's an intelligentian, she could have a Coke bottle figure, like a killer figure, but you'll probably never know it because she won't express it as such. Let me use the example of twins with that. So you have one twin, she's an intelligentian. She got a nice Coke bottle figure, but no one barely knows it. She don't fix herself up in such a way to draw sexual attention. Maybe to have you be more engaged more on an intellectual level, a platonic level, but not a sexual level. But then you have the other side. You have what Master Yao calls the sensual bohemians. Their sex drive isn't limited by anything. Their problem is loss of control. Like a bad example, here's an example. Okay, the same twin. I'm gonna give another example after that. The same set of twins. Okay, one is more intelligentsia and you can't really tell anything. She'll give off a sexual vibe, but the other one is bohemian. Oh, she's going to make sure you know about every inch of her lovely body. She's going to have the high heels, short dresses. She's going to wear clothes that draw your attention to her. She's going to make sure her hair done, makeup, everything. And even her attitude and how she interact with men and women really, is going to be more out there, more like engaging, right? And then another example of that, say somebody who most people wouldn't find physically appealing. Doesn't have an appealing face or an appealing body, but they still bohemian. They will probably still present themselves in as sensual a way as possible, though it might not work as well, but still they'll do it. That's how deep it is. And indeed, even on the other side within intelligentsia, many intelligentians would be considered physically attractive within their particular communities, but they don't give off that sexual energy. Now, it affects other areas of life. Remember, our sexual nature is turned on or off, but it's there no matter what. That's who we are. The very idea of sex is, sexual connection, energy, our cells dividing. They do it all the time. So it's going to affect our personality. Even, I'm going to tell you what religions we might get into. Like intelligentians in general now, notice I'm saying in general, tend to be more religious, tend to be more into academic pursuits, more intellectual, not necessarily smarter, though, let me be clear about that, but more into areas that involve the mind. And then that could even affect their politics. there's a strong tendency to be more conservative. Strong tendency. Now, remember, these are tendencies, not overall. Not overall, but a strong tendency to be more conservative, you know? That's how they affect, because that's how they're looking at life. You know, even how they like live, how they adorn themselves. You know, you go to their house, it might not be all flashy and everything. You know, it might just be very functional, but that's it. So, and they might not drive that fancy like sports car or something like that. Might not. Like I said, these are tendencies. Nothing's absolute. But it's affecting everything else. How they vote, which candidates they're going to vote for, which religious institutions, how devout they're going to be. You know? Because you got many spiritual groups, they say, oh, well, you can't be having sex like that. Probably how they got to be intelligentsia like that. And they'll go with that because it fits their lifestyle. It's going to be a lifestyle. It's going to affect their very lifestyle. And then you look at the bohemian side. Tend not to be as conservative. Tend to be more freedom, like, yeah, let's go away, whatever. You know, more likely to maybe to use substances and stuff like that. You know, more likely to go to the club, whereas the intelligentsia will go to the library. The bohemian might be in the clubs. They'll be in the clubs and the bars and everything. They buying all the sexy clothes and all of that. That's the thing, you know. They're going to be a little bit wilder in the bedroom. Now, let me be clear. Intelligentians, well, they still have sex. They still have sex. But it's not going to be the same as how a bohemian is going to do it. But the bohemians, shoot, they're going to be, you know, they're going to probably be the ones driving that red sports car down the street more likely. Like I said, it affects other areas. You know, the place they live it got to be a fly-ass apartment, you know. The candidates that they would likely support in an election will tend to be the candidates more, at least perceived to be, giving more freedom to people to do as they please. It depends, because even politics, that's a whole other discussion. But if you look at them, or even religion, yeah, they might or might not go to some temple or something like that. Might or might not. Or if they do, you know, it's something to do, they used to it, but they might be that type, you know, come in with a short dress on or something. Or that type coming in, they just looking to MACK. But it affects other areas. That's how important. A lot of times you can get an idea. And it's deeper than what I could just talk about, but it's something to think about. Understand something. Men and women interacting, and honestly, in some cases, same-sex interacting, depending on the orientation, you know, sexual orientation. It's always a sexual dynamic, always. And it's something to consider. Okay, it's something to always think about. So that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. And like I said, I want you to think about this one. Think about this one, because there's so much there, but it's deep. Because understand something, our sexual nature is subconscious. Our subconscious impacts what we do consciously. We don't think it does, but it does. You know, it impacts where we're going to gravitate towards as far as different areas in our life. How we're going to wear our clothes, especially wear clothes. Let me just use that one example, because I ain't give that one. I've always given it, but I ain't give it this time. I'm going to give it now. An intelligentsia, well, I think I touched on it a little bit. I'll touch on it some more just to close out. An intelligentsia, they're going to wear their clothes more conservatively. As I said, yeah, I did touch on it. I'll say it again for now. They're going to wear their clothes more conservatively, whereas the bohemian, they're going to be wilder, but that still affects another area of life, because that affects the economy and what clothes or what styles are going to be bought and everything. So it means a lot. Everything, see, one thing, everything in life is holistic, so you can't really divide it and say your sex life and how you do is divided from the rest of your life. No, it ain't. At best, you might hide it like bohemians. They can hide into the untrained eye, can look like the intelligentsia until, you know, it's like that woman, she could wear that real conservative business suit and everything, but if you were to get her naked or get her clothes off, she ain't wearing any. She wearing like those stockings that don't have an ass in it, or that lingerie, or that thong. So, but it's something to think about. It's something to think about, as I always do on this channel. I throw stuff out there for you to think about. So anyway, that's all I have for now. I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.